That's how our system works. We're modeled upon, institutions of checks and balances and things like that. Unfortunately, what we've seen is that the checks and balances in our society have failed comprehensively. That's what whistleblowing is about. Whistleblowing isn't about what happens when times are good. Whistleblowing is what occurs when times are bad. When we have basically officials on the Senate Intelligence Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, who are cheerleading for surveillance agencies, as opposed to overseeing them as adversaries, as watchdogs on behalf of the public. When we have the executive who is sort of instituting programs and policies outside the color of law on the basis of really sort of novel and most frequently secret interpretations of law that are signed only by the Office of Legal Counsel or the Department of Justice, but nobody publicly knows about it. When the only courts that are reviewing these programs are secret rubber stamp courts that, again, in 30 years say no 12 times, there's something wrong. The very first open court to review these programs said they're likely unconstitutional and they're Orwellian in their scope. But beyond that, it gets to the question of how do you blow the whistle? How do you do it in the best way? Now, some people who really aren't comfortable with what happened in 2013, who will never embrace it, who will basically say, I can't approve of that. They do so on the basis, not because they say it's wrong, not because they say someone was hurt, because again, it's not 2013, it's 2015 now, and the government itself, which has every incentive to say that this got people killed, this caused harm, has never in a single case named a single individual who has been harmed, even hair on their head. What they're really trying to disown there, what they don't want to accept, is the possibility of risk. And whistleblowing will always entail risk. The operation of the free press will always entail risk. So when people criticize about, the scope of revelation, the fact that, yes, journalists need to understand, they need to be able to access more material than will be reviewed or will be published in the final product. When people try to split hairs about what documents were read, what documents were evaluated, things like this, what they're really saying is that freedom from risk is more important to them than freedom of the press. But that's not what this country is founded on. That's not what our values say. And I'm glad, even if it was only a little bit, a small part, I'm proud of the fact that I was able to play a small role in protecting that, in pushing that forward. And I would say when you think about how do you do this, you don't reject that risk exists. You don't say that it's beyond possibility that some sort of speculative harm could come from this. But you weigh the speculative harms of disclosure against the concrete harms of the policy, the damage to rights, the damage to individuals, the damage of mass surveillance to our norms,